Okay, so I came up with the success criteria that's going to help students know what they need to do in order to be successful at a particular learning target. So my strategy is that students will improve their understanding of the learning target by creating a list of criteria that will help them be successful in reaching the learning target. Okay, so the plan, basically what this is teachers will give a learning target. Then they will sit down with the class and let the students collaborate with each other and discuss what is it that they need to know in order to be successful with that learning target. What different little pieces do they need to add and put together, and do they need to know to get there? So if it is multiplication, what different strategies do they need to know to be successful with multiplication? Is it knowing that multiplication is how many groups and how many are in each group to find the total number? What different strategies do they need to know? Then they will collaborate and create their list of criteria and kind of make a checklist in their notebooks. And then we will have that posted in the classroom. What students will do is they will keep track of that, and as they learn something, a part of that success criteria for the learning target, they will check it off. And when they feel like they're successful and they're ready to take the test, then they are able to take the assessment for that. This kind of really works in my math class because I do a self-paced math, so students get to work at their own pace. With that, we have learning targets, and even some students might be ahead, but then they create that success criteria on their own, and I check it and we can discuss it. So the next thing that I found was my literature review. Now, I found this called Leveling the Playing Field, Sharing Learning Targets and Criteria for Success. What I found was that if students didn't have a clear understanding of what the learning target was and what they needed to do to get there, then they weren't going to try. And then they needed to know what those steps were ahead of time in order to be more successful. Another thing was that students can't work toward a goal if they don't understand what the goal is. So they really want to know what the end game is before they will work toward that. So by giving them the ultimate goal, giving them the steps that they need to take to get to that goal, then they're going to be more successful. And then they share that it's important not only to tell students what they need to do, but to show them as well. So it needs to be a very visual aspect of what they're doing. That's why I keep the checklist posted in my classroom, and as we learn something, we check it off. And then it's by collaborating together and creating that list, because then the students are sharing the end goal. They're sharing in the learning, in the process. So the action plan and implementation is that teachers are going to create a learning target that they will be working on with their students. So at my school, we have what's called Gailey University once a month. It's kind of a professional development time. Teachers are going to bring a learning target, and then we're going to create success criteria for that learning target together to kind of work through the process. They're going to create an anchor chart with their success criteria listed, and then they're going to take that back to their classrooms, and students are going to create a checklist. So they're going to start in baby steps. It's going to start more teacher-led, and then there's going to be more class-led, and then student-led towards the end once the students become more comfortable with the process. Each week, the students are going to reflect on the success criteria and how they are motivating. It's motivating their self-discipline and their learning. So this is where the success criteria is very much helping us with the self-discipline aspect of, especially with my vision statement. Students are becoming more self-disciplined in their learning because they know what they need to be successful. My hypothesis is that after doing some research, students will feel more connected to their learning and take ownership because they know the criteria they need to meet in order to be successful. Students will gain confidence in their learning. Okay, so that's my hypothesis. By students knowing what they need in order to be successful, they're going to be able to reach that. They're going to be more self-disciplined. They can achieve that. And then they're going to have that confidence in their learning that they were lacking before.